Lee Jordan would be a remarkable man if he was living today. He embodied everything we value in a leader. He changed the lives of kids and brought people together. And he did it with humor, strength of character, and sheer hard work. He was a pioneer for equal rights for blacks and whites, boys and girls. But what makes Mr. Jordan truly remarkable is that he started this work 80 years ago, when segregation still existed all across the country. The Takoma Park Boys and Girls Club that he started was the first racially integrated one in Montgomery County. The same was true for many of his teams. The fact that so many people were used to seeing kids play baseball together meant that it was no big deal in Takoma Park when the Supreme Court ordered the desegregation of schools. It was Takoma Park's great fortune to be blessed with someone who had such a positive influence at a time when very few people were willing to stand up. The field was actually named Lee Jordan in Lee Jordan's honor in 1981 when he was still alive. There was a ceremony here with Mayor Sammy Abbott, another Takoma Park leader for equal rights. But it's been 25 years since the death of Mr. Lee, as the kids called him. Many people who live here know very little or maybe nothing. All they know is that they come to watch fireworks at the Lee Jordan Field, or they come to play a game, as the kids are doing today, or go sledding on the hill. But they don't know why the field was named for him or why he was important. So today, we are honoring him, Mr. Lee, again, to remind everyone of who he was.
What is a rededication ceremony?
Well, the original dedication of Lee Jordan Field took place in 1981, and Lee was actually still alive when it took place. The rededication is the 25th anniversary of his passing, and Historic Takoma thought it would be a great idea to commemorate the 25th anniversary by placing a sign and something permanent here in the space that would really symbolize Lee's contribution to the Takoma Park and the Takoma Park community. So that's where the idea came from. This project was a partnership between Historic Takoma, the City of Takoma Park, and Program Open Space of Maryland.
We in Takoma Park haven't done a very good job of making sure that we all know who laid the groundwork, who laid the foundation, who did the important work here for so many decades. And I can't think of a more fitting person than Lee Jordan to be able to be here and make it clear to all of the people who live here today who made this community what it is and who is so important. And I want to make sure that we do a better job of recognizing all of the people who have made this community great. And I want to see us do things to make sure that we recognize people, and I can think of no more fitting person to kick this off than Mr. Lee Jordan.
My first day of junior high, and you'll notice that I'm a girl, the first face I saw, and it was scary, 1957, to come to the big school on the hill. The first person I saw was Lee Jordan. His beautiful, you had to experience the smile. It was just so warming, and it just made you want to come on to school. Now in those days, and I'm going to remind everybody, this is 1957. This is 3 years after Brown versus the Board of Education. The integration in these schools was simple. No one even noticed. We all just, I guess in 55, we all just went to school. And I think Lee Jordan had a whole lot to do with that kind of integration. I don't know, he was so magical. He was magical. What else can you say about him? He was a magic man. And I guess, I don't know when the girls' club got added to the boys' club, but I figured it was sometime in '73 because of Title IX. Uh, but in those days it was only the boys. There weren't any girls on any teams. So I just wanted to say these kinds of things because I'm a girl, and it didn't make any difference to him who you were or what color you were. He treated everyone equally.
How important is it to have a figure like Lee Jordan in Takoma Park's history?
Oh, it's incredibly important. Lee Jordan was the embodiment of kindness, honesty, loving everyone, taking care of people, making sure everyone was was taken care of, and that if that's the basis for Takoma Park, and I believe that it is pretty much the basis, Lee Jordan really set a trend.
Yeah, I can feel the energy and passion you have just talking about him and the topic. Are there any particular memories that you have of him?
Well, I the first day I walked into Takoma Park Junior High School, it was his face that I saw, his beautiful smiling face, and he wanted to make sure that I was okay because I was a little seventh grader and I was petrified of going to class and having to go to different classes, and I was sure that I wasn't going to make it, and he just set my mind at ease, and he took such good care of me all the 3 years I was here. I came back to see him. You know, he was just a magnificent human being, and I believe those of us he touched us in a way that we've passed on that kindness and goodness as often as possible to other people.
Are you happy with the rededication and the ceremony?
Yes, this is fabulous. So many people in Takoma Park weren't here when he was alive. We've got a whole new, younger crowd, and he was doing what he was doing, and as I said, during just after Brown versus the Board of Education, which was a very, let's see, how do I say this, big deal, not in Takoma Park, but in other areas of Maryland, Montgomery County, and the country. So, as we just saw with the rededication or the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, it was a big deal.
All right. Thank you very much,
You're
Kate.
very welcome.
I knew Lee Jordan very well. Well, I attended Takoma Park Junior High School, and afterwards. I never played baseball, football, or basketball for Lee, Mr. Lee, as he was known. I ran cross country and track for Montgomery Blair and track for Takoma Park Junior High School. The Blue Devils. The Blue Devils, baby! But I first met Lee while attending Takoma Park Junior High. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, that is Takoma Park Junior High. It's the new version. I know I'm in trouble with the principal right now, but Lee was the head custodian at the school, and he was amazing. He probably knew most of the students by their first name. We always said hi and spoke for a minute or two. He wanted to know how my track season was going, or just things in general. All of my friends at Takoma had a very deep respect for Mr. Lee, and there's no question about that. You could tell he really cared about the school, and he cared about you. Many of my friends played baseball on Mr. Lee's teams, and they were incredible athletes. Leroy Patterson, Paul Lee, and the Dawes brothers. This town in the 1950s and 60s was very rich in athletic talent. Oh, Jimmy Jarbo's here too. He played ball. Jimmy Jarbo could hit a baseball. Don't kid yourself. And I'm young enough to remember that. I would go to some of the baseball games, and it was a privilege to watch these athletes play ball. However, It was not too much fun to play against them in Takoma's gym classes. But I could run, so cross country and track were my sports. But if you ask anyone who played for Lee Jordan, they'll tell you, and I've asked many of his players, they say, best coach I ever had, no question, and maybe with a tear in their eyes. This field is a very special place because it's Lee Jordan Field. And Lee's commitment to this community was tremendous. I've worked out on this field in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s. And I've had some of my best efforts right here on this field. It just feels like home. And you know why? Because it is.
I hope that you all are as excited as I am to hear these stories today. You know, as I listen to the stories, I remember back at the mood of the country at that time and the kind of acceptance or non-acceptance of the diversity that we today pride ourselves with in this community. But you know, it's kind of awe-inspiring to hear these stories, but I also hope that we all walk away from this inspired to think about the social injustices that continue in our city and in this country, and think about how we can learn from Lee Jordan and how we can continue the progress that he was able to make in this city.
How important is it to Takoma Park's history to have a figure like Lee Jordan?
I think it's incredibly important, obviously. And he was an incredibly transformative figure in this community. He was one of the people that really brought a lot of diverse people together. And, you know, I think that it's important to remember the time. You know, the late 50s was a very different time than what we have today. Many of the diversity, I was actually just watching some of the soccer parents that were out here. In 1957, you probably did not see that as much. And so having an opportunity to have a person that transformative and recognizing him here and recognizing him really on the field, that so many things that he did personally and really his legacy continues to be evident is just incredible. So I'm really proud that even I had an opportunity to be here to even witness it.
Many of the young people that played athletics for Mr. Lee almost 50 years ago are still friends and still live here in Montgomery County today. In fact, there are many young people that played athletics for him inside the gymnasium here, which was at the time Takoma Park Jr. High when I went there, and it was grades 7, 8, and 9. From what I recall, Mr. Lee was the athletic director for the City of Takoma Park, and he organized the baseball teams, the Takoma Park football teams, and basketball teams. Now, my experiences were from 1966 to 1970, and this was still a turbulent time during the civil rights era where there was still a lot of prejudice, racial prejudice here in Maryland. Now, although the majority of the boys that played athletics for Mr. Lee were black, there were many white boys that played also alongside of us. So we all played together as youth on this field. And Mr. Lee worked in the best interests of the entire community and had no prejudice about him whatsoever. In fact, as was said earlier, the Boys and Girls Club for Takoma Park was founded and was the first racially integrated one in Montgomery County, and was founded by Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee was generally the overseer of the Boys Club. He was the one who encouraged more boys than I can count to get involved in sports, encouraging us to participate in the many sports activities that kept us out of trouble, kept us from experimenting in any kind of criminal activity. So he would always verbally recruit us and remind us that tryouts or practices were coming up soon, and be ready for the different sports, you know, as the seasons were coming up. It was hard not to come in contact with Mr. Lee. He was the head custodian here at Takoma Park Junior High, as it was called at the time. And we would see him in the hallway, and he always had a way of looking at us that kept us in line. In fact, my friends who lived on Ritchie Avenue, they've told me that Mr. Lee would call their parents or contact their parents in advance before they got home and let them know they were misbehaving. I remember Mr. Lee, he walked with a slight limp as he came down the hallway, and he had very long arms and big hands. And I remember one day I had not turned in my football equipment, and Mr. Lee reached out and grabbed me and said, Reed, I need you to return that equipment.
I couldn't get away from him, from that grip, and but he taught us responsibility. Basketball. As the head custodian at this school, Mr. Lee was the person who opened the gym up for us so we could play basketball. And with basketball, he organized the church league where 12 and 13-year-old boys played other churches in the area. Even though I double dribbled a lot, I played for his team back then in the late 60s. And back then he was also the deacon at Parker Memorial Church. So although my church was St. Michael's and I could have played for them, I wanted to play for Mr. Lee and with my friends from the neighborhood. Baseball. Mr. Lee oversaw and coordinated and handled scheduling for the Takoma Park City League. He coordinated local businesses that paid for the uniforms and equipment that sponsored the several teams. I played for the R.C. Dawes and Sons team, which was a local waste management company. The leagues were midgets and the peewees, and there were other teams like Packett's Pharmacy, Braden's Pharmacy. You remember that? So it was baseball, not softball. So that ball came at you pretty fast, and you know, I remember striking out a lot, like I said. But this was for boys 8 to 12. And what made me the most proud, though, is that I had the jersey and the matching cap, so at least I looked good, you know, while I was striking out. With football, Mr. Lee was the person that recruited as many boys as possible from the community. And he would make sure everybody had a chance to play, no matter how big or small they were or how good they were. I know I felt like an NFL player on TV when I played. He founded the coaches for us, and he collected donations from the community. Now at that time, back in 67, 68, 69, our uniforms were the result of donations and hand-me-downs, actually. I remember that our uniforms were basically large t-shirts. They were blue t-shirts, and the boys, we had either white helmets or a white helmet with a stripe down the middle. Some of us had yellow helmets, you know, but we had the same colored jersey, so that was the most important part. But I remember one day we played the Silver Spring Boys Club, and we were all amazed at their uniforms. It was silver and green. Everything was coordinated. They beat us pretty bad too, but you know. But afterwards, we all came back at the meeting right after that, and Mr. Lee encouraged us, and we continued to play. Everybody stuck together. And you know, I remember my shoulder pads were heavier than I was and bigger than I was, and at the time I was about 75 pounds playing on the 85-pound team. And we used to scrimmage against the 120-pound team, so you can imagine that. So that helped toughen us up. That's all we had. We shared cleats with one another. You know, the shoes that fit the guys that had the same shoe size. We shared cleats with one another. Now, there was also the Takoma Park Boys Club banquet that Mr. Lee organized. He coordinated that, and you know, as a kid, just the sound of the word banquet was an encouragement to play hard and win, because we were going to celebrate at the end of the season. So the influence that Mr. Lee had on me as a boy was that playing sports gave me the courage, the toughness, and character that I needed inside to make me feel as though I can do it. You know, I'm a winner. I'm not afraid of anything. So these impressions have stayed with me all my life. It helped me get through college at the University of Maryland. It helped me get through law school. And it helped me to teach my kids that they can do it and that they're winners also. And also, as I've said earlier, that Mr. Lee helped create a community by developing a community of friends who, you know, to this day we're still friends throughout the county wherever our old buddies live.
I'm a native Washingtonian. I actually grew up in Tacoma, D.C. when it was a three-part Tacoma. You had Tacoma, D.C., Takoma Park, Montgomery County, and Takoma Park, Prince George's County. And while I was growing up, the Takoma Park, D.C. area did not have as many activities as they did in Takoma Park, so we would cross the line to come to Takoma Park, Maryland. And that's how I got started in Takoma Park, Maryland. Mr. Lee was instrumental in making sure that everyone had an opportunity to participate. It didn't matter where you lived,
As long as you could get here, you could play. So I just want to say this is a tremendous day, a tremendous accomplishment for a man that never had a bad word spoken about him. And he's probably the only person that I know of that never had a bad word spoken about him. And I just want to thank the City of Takoma Park for rededicating this field, because this is dedication number 2. And I happen to be here for that one also.
It's absolutely inspirational to hear all the things one man can do. Obviously a man before his time, and integrated basketball, sports and everything. He took everything by the horns and took care of it and did his job. And all of you should be so proud, and to be very proud of the family and of him. And I know Takoma Park, Silver Spring is, and that you're the backbone. Your family is the backbone of where we come from. And we really honor all of you in that, because you're certainly following his tradition. Taught you all well, and it's we think that's wonderful. I have a citation from the Maryland General Assembly. It says, "Be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to the family of Lee Jordan in recognition of Mr. Lee's contribution to our community as coach and mentor to the children of Takoma Park on the 25th anniversary of his passing." And it's signed by Delegate Sheila Hickson. Congratulations.
It is truly a great honor for us to be here with the Jordan family and the mayor and the entire city council and Tony and Howard Cohn and all of the people who are keeping the spirit of Lee Jordan going in Takoma Park today. So I'm here to honor really 3 things. Okay, one is roots in the community. You know, my father, who just turned 80, used to say to me that everybody has 2 impulses in life. One is to fly like a bird and to take off, but the other is to stand like a tree. And Lee Jordan stood like a tree in this community and sunk very deep roots, and we see all the extraordinary fruit that has been born in the young people, in the sports that are still going on, and the spirit of productive play that we've got in Takoma Park. And we even have a play lady. I don't know if she's here today, but there's Pat. But the second thing that I want to honor is also organizers, because he was an organizer too. It's not easy to organize a football league, a baseball league, or a basketball league, much less all 3 of them, and throw in tennis and soccer and so on. You know, how many of us allow our work to be defined by what we think our job is? But Lee Jordan demonstrates that you don't let the job define you, you define the job. And so he took the job of custodian and he made it much bigger than that and went far beyond the call of duty in terms of creating amazing waves of learning and community and togetherness that we're still enjoying today in Takoma Park. And let me just say finally, you know, America is a competitive society. We love our sports and we watch, you know, football and basketball and tennis and swimming and everything, and we love it. But sometimes the competition can run away from us. And Lee Jordan was somebody who always demonstrated that competition and community have to go together, so that it's not just about who's the fastest and who's the biggest and who wins. It's about including everybody, all of us together. And that's the spirit of play, and that's the spirit of sports in Takoma Park that we celebrate when we celebrate the great Lee Jordan. So I'm just very excited to be here with all of you guys today.
Well, we're speaking now with Mr. Lee Jordan's youngest granddaughter, Sandy Jordan.
That's right.
And how was today's rededication ceremony for you?
Today's ceremony, it was just incredibly awesome. My grandfather would be very happy today. We are happy. He just instilled so much into the community, and for the community to give back and honor him is an honor to us. And we really appreciate it, and his legacy will never die. So we're very excited and happy. The Jordan family would like to thank the Takoma Park Recreation Department, Historic Takoma Park, the Mayor and City Council of Takoma Park for rededicating this field in honor of our father and grandfather, Mr. Leandra Jordan. We wanted to give you an inside look into the Jordan family so that you can understand that the great leader in this community you are honoring today was also a great leader and provider to his family. Lee Jordan was born in Orange County, Mississippi on March 3rd, 1910. He had 2 brothers and 1 sister. He married Helen M. Jordan on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and they stayed married for 58 years. That's wonderful and a blessing. She was the love of his life and the rock of the Jordan family. My grandfather had 3 daughters, Dolores, Eudora, and Patricia, 2 sons, Maurice and Lee Jordan, Jr. Out of those 5 children, 2 of his daughters are right here with us today. They are Eudora Powell, sitting right here in the front, and Patricia Matthews. As of today, Lee Jordan also has 13 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, 8 great-great-grandchildren, a host of cousins and in-laws who all represent this historic Jordan legacy. My grandfather was a generous man who had a very loving heart and would give a stranger his very last dime if that stranger needed it. He was genuinely kind and pleasant to everyone. He loved his family and had a passion to help children within the community. Lee Jordan was very active in the community and started the Takoma Park Boys and Girls Club. Even when the county said there was no money for uniforms, Lee Jordan spent his own money to purchase uniforms for the Takoma Park Boys and Girls Club. He instilled in all of us, including children in the community, humility, respect, to treat others with kindness. He showed us how to be leaders in the community, and he also implemented in his life excellent work ethics. He was also a leader in his church, where he served as chairman of the deacon board at Parker Memorial Baptist Church. And some of those members are here today. Thank you for coming out. Some of you may remember reading articles about the 5 young grandchildren Lee Jordan took in after his son, Lee Jordan Jr., tragically lost his life in a house fire. My brother Lee Jordan, 3, right here, and I were 2 of those 5 young grandchildren. After the house fire, our grandfather immediately, without hesitation or question, took us in and raised 5 of us, 4 girls and 1 boy. All of Lee Jordan's grandchildren referred to him as Daddy. Our friends in school never realized that Lee Jordan was actually our grandfather because they heard us refer to him as Daddy. Our grandfather made sure that all of us were in some kind of sports in school. Lee Jordan's children and grandchildren played football, basketball, tennis, soccer, and even have grandchildren who were on cheerleading squads and the pom-pom squads. I know that our grandfather Lee Jordan is smiling down from heaven on all of us here today. Once again, the Jordan family thanks you for this awesome gesture of rededicating and honoring Lee A. Jordan's memory. Thank you very much.